It is my pleasure to have you visit my channel. Give the video a pre-start by hitting the subscribe button. Although Tommy Lee has been with WWE for over 2 years, Triple H is still the company's chief content officer. A 61-year-old man was foretold by Carloki game in the event of a technical knockout. Let the veteran in, and the ladder go. Mystery is none other than Bruce Danzig. Old brother Prichard's love is on. Running for the 3rd time at the Stamford base, now serves as the executive for the firm, executive producer of both SmackDown and WWN. Without regard to Prichard's status, as his relationship with Vince McMahon stayed with the firm after the departure of their speaker stepped aside to address the matter from behind. Podcast by Turnbuckle Roland Duval advocated for the senior executive to take over for Triple H as head of content officer during a discussion on possible alternate players in the Carluzzi game, said that Prichard makes the most sense, name highlighting the attributes of the veteran. In my opinion, make him a good candidate for the post. Hello, Bruce Prichard. If you're interested in about a man who was knocked out cold, well, I'm not sure I would. Bruce's TV made him think. His knowledge in production allows him to handle all young men. He deals with business deals without a doubt. I believe he is likely Triple H's sidekick in the event that Triple H resigned. It is my firm belief that Nick Khan would hire Bruce Prichard, he said, beginning on the 25th. Wrestling Executive, columns 33-25. In the past, Bruce Prichard has been let go by Stephanie, the wife of Triple H, during McMahon's second tenure at WWE. Bruce Prichard had substantial, genuine, passionate relationship with Stephanie, Triple H's wife, McMahon, at one of his shows. The 61-year-old to host a wrestling podcast veteran came out to discuss his issues with it. The story of the billion-dollar princess began when returned from her first leave to become a mother because talented people would seek him out. Instead of her, the script was approved. At first, Stephanie's position as the former. It was also said by Brother Love that, according to Vince's daughter, he seemed to go beyond her to her father as a result of, later on would consult with him for advice. Prichard was ultimately fired by Stephanie after, once a week after their meeting, though present CO publicly acknowledged that he was provided no formal justification for his dismissal. Truthfully, the official justification for everyone else that was fired except me was just ended, and I relinquished control to my attorney. While their time together, there was never a formal. I was the only one who gave up. Removed from service, I had earned my severance pay. Detailed how I would evaluate my separation pay. Items satisfactory and equitable H/T Wrestling, Inc. The fact that Prichard is currently on amicable terms with billion-dollar young woman as the wrestling alum, keeps in close contact with the spouse of Stephanie, Triple H, is not, for a longer period during WWE, the unexpected comeback of a WWE veteran's surprising return in a twist single foresaw the arrival of the Wrestling Universe. In the midst of recent speculation in the vicinity, WWE speculation escalated as anonymous insiders have dropped hints about a major change at the top of the organization. High ranks, a 61-year-old veteran with a lengthy, supposedly associated with WWE in the past, to assume a position that has the potential to, considering what is ahead for the group that the late legend was renowned for, his impact and brilliance as a creator. According to reports, WWE's heyday was being considered to succeed, none else, in place of Triple H as the head of WWE's content, official in charge, chief cost officer. Shocking revelation, thus the story goes, carried out by the infamous, the one and only Stephanie McMahon, somebody who has already terminated his employment. Triple H's feud with TKO has persisted ever since. WWE's historic partnership with Project's TKO Group Holdings to consolidate UFC. Rising worries over its creative direction for WWE in the future as a result of Triple H's contributions to impacting WWE's present era via his, it seems like, creative vision had discovered oneself in conflict with the emerging reports about his leadership, the creative team's goals, and those of the problems arise at WWE due to TKO's vision. High places due to hearsay. Rumors were circulating that the TKO debating whether to keep Triple H, worried about parting ways with a loved one. Many people still couldn't believe it. However, the whispers continued. A Triple H, who had an indisputable impact, has long been seen as the heir that seems to. It is Vince McMahon's, but in our modern day, when entertainment and business interests, priorities were still being reassessed, the veteran's position was not exempt. Enters the veteran with an unexpected choice. Veteran who has taken a long hiatus from WWE, apparently disregarded by the younger following of admirers, yet held in high esteem by who were able to recall his work. His name was often brought up in conversation on the artistic heights reached by WWE throughout 1920s and 1930s, 2000s, but by the time he left the firm, resulted in a rude and sudden end. Various disputes that occurred behind the scenes and led to, as Stephanie McMahon demonstrated to him, it seemed as if Stephanie had maybe arranged for him to return to substitute for her own spouse. This veteran had an image as a daring individual, a courageous individual who dared to restrictions and difficulty norm. Given his extensive background and wealth of expertise, his advanced years were actually considered as a strength. Familiarity with the wrestling industry. According to some, he was the ideal choice to lead WWE into Chapter 2, particularly in the event that the TKO was determined to take risks. Adjustments made by former employees, Revelation and X, worker for WWE who has previously collaborated with, includes Triple H as well as this season, provided insight from inside the industry on the developing conflict. In an open interview, they revealed the stress developing among WWE employees and the prospective consequences of this enormous leadership change when it comes to Triple H's outstanding engagement with WWE's artistic director. Nevertheless, there is an increasing sense that his concepts probably won't mesh with TKO's goals. Depart from the organization if TKO chooses to release him. Returning an individual of veterans caliber, potential means of guaranteeing the longevity of their guaranteeing a problem-free changeover, may be acquainted with the company from every angle, and in spite of his relationship with Stephanie came to an end, remained devoted to wrestling throughout. Then the former worker implied that this return of the veteran may not be as. Surprisingly, there seems to be a rationale. His candidacy is being seriously considered. It's official. WWE is at a crossroads. They are in need of a facilitator. Provide a new perspective while drawing on relevant prior perspective. Name of veteran has that uncommon blend of conventional knowledge with modern capacity to adjust to contemporary crowds. If anyone is able to occupy Triple H's shoes, he may be the one to cause the fallout. Breaking news on this possible change in authority caused a stir inside the WWE. There was a schism between Universe fans. Among them were looking forward to seeing the returning wrestlers' impact. Some were worried about the implications of this, what this may imply for their beloved icons and plots for those who recalled the veteran's prior stint. He was an innovative, armed group that had provided assistance. Give examples. During the height of his WWE career, he was in charge of a number of notable, captivating plots and personalities that were now a component of wrestling tale. But his departure had caused a painful. People were curious about his comeback and his flavor, expected to encounter pushback from individuals, those who had flourished during Triple H's management. In the meanwhile, the Triple H's concerns about a possible exit to his plans for the future of wrestling. Would he consider leaving WWE for another company completely, or would he hold on to his skills, possibly to a different wrestling venue?